Greetings. Is this working? Hello. Hello, Minuteman 185. You are the powder keg about to explode. Because of anticipation? Because of excitement? Because you're just so excited for class today? Understandable, understandable. Well, hey, I'm gonna just throw this up on YouTube after. So I'm not really gonna wait for too many people or anything. I'm just gonna go at it. So Minuteman, you're here for the lecture. All right. So first off, here's my list of books that I keep here in Airtable. And a few of them are ones that you guys did end up submitting to me when I asked for it last week. So what we are going to do is, and by the way, let me know if the text is too small. I can zoom in even further. Well, let's hide this field actually. And then zoom in even more. I don't want to do full screen though. Zoom in a little bit more. There we go. Boom. All right. So, just one sec. Yeah. All right. So as you might have noticed, a lot of these have already been on here for a bit. About like a month ago, I'd done a poll asking Twitter what they would think of if I did book streams where I just read books and did kind of what I'm proposing to do now. And at that time, a bunch of people messaged me their recommendations. So what we have here is, well, I'm just gonna go through all of them and let's just talk about them. So we've got the Bible, literally the Bible, author God. Recommended by Zero the Trap. I would like to read the Bible. That's not it. That's not even a joke. It's just such a tome. It's so massive that I need to have a proper study plan. Need to have a Bible study plan. Ask Abigail. Because I don't really want to chug through that. I think that's something you got to take in. And it could be pretty dense sometimes. There's a lot of meanings to unravel as you're reading it. My goal for this was more, I want to finish something in a week or 2 weeks and then immediately talk about it. So I mean, there could be maybe I read a certain section each week and just slowly chunk away at it. And then Index Regalia, it suggested Odd Thomas by Dean Koontz. I just know Dean Koontz is another kind of Stephen King kind of guy. I don't know anything other than that. I think he just writes a lot of popular fiction. I've heard some literary snobs kind of shit on him, but you know, commercial fiction is what it is. It's not bad. Just open it up and have fun. So there's that. Tori Taiga recommended a fried chicken cooking book. I don't even remember what it's called. I just put fried chicken book. Oopsie. But if that one wins, then I'll go and ask her for it. Let's see. It Devours. Joseph Fink and Jeffrey Craner by Living Dead Boy 1 is the one who recommended this. Let's go look up what this book is. I don't know what this is. Jeffrey, Craner or something? I already forgot how to spell it. Here we go. Oh, this is a Welcome to Night Vale novel. Interesting. Because I'm familiar with Night Vale. I know what that's about. That is a podcast. Didn't they start on Something Awful or something? Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, Ahmad and our front page writer of these forums created this podcast thing. Yeah, so someone on Something Awful actually created Welcome to Night Vale, and that thing took off over the years. But I think it was still pretty niche, kind of fringe in its own little right, which makes sense given the subject matter. It's like a podcast about a spooky town, and it's kind of got that War of the Worlds vibe where it's broadcasted like it's real. Oh, hello, Soup for the Soul. We're just going through my book list right now. Potential books I'll be reading. Then I'm gonna do a little bit of a number draw to see what we're gonna read. It's 3 a.m. Tori was dozing off and bam, Sensei is alive. Oh, Tori. I was just asking you. I was asking the chat for you. This fried chicken book you recommended, you'll have to tell me the actual title if it ends up winning the drawing. Because I just wrote fried chicken book. Hello, nighttime snack. How's it going? All right, next we have Into the Dark, R.L. Stine. Isn't that interesting? A non-Goosebump books by R.L. Stine. Called Into the Dark. Yes, we all know. Yeah, he's the Goosebumps guy, right? Yes, of course, of course. Just making sure. Fear Street series. Fear Street Super Chillers. Super Chillers. R.L. Stine. See No Evil. Oh, these are pretty short chapters. I wonder if this is like a teenager kind of book. But that's cool, because then it's just easier to read. And then it's kind of like a light novel for children. Just kidding, guys. Alright. And then Ophidia Lux recommended 2 books that I asked for her. I wanted some like real kind of fringe kind of sci-fi. Oh, you know what? I actually ordered one of these. Psychic Telemetry. This book seems super wacky and occult, so I ordered it. It's I think it's literally about using your psychic powers. Yeah. Let's see, let's see. Interesting book by the Serenity Occult. Really cool. There's not much on it in the description. That's how fringe it is. It seems kind of like they'd pass it out like at a cult and they'd make you read it. Or maybe this is what the cult leader reads and uses on you. I don't know, but I'm into it. Tori says it literally is called the Fried Chicken Book Cookbook, but the one she took the photo from is Fried Chicken Cookbook, Irresistible Finger Licking Fried Chicken Recipes. Alright, Tori, I'm gonna Google that. Whoops. Alright, go night. Thanks for stopping by. Finger licking fried chicken recipes. Let's see. Ooh, I'm just getting distracted in the images. Let's see. Let's go to the... This one. This is it. All right. We might read a cookbook. Could be fun. Oh, but everything could be... We have a deep fryer, actually. We have a deep fryer here. I could record it. We could make videos of me trying to learn to deep fry. That'd be something. Yeah, what if you dropped your phone in a deep fryer? That'd suck. Let's see. Sky VTuber. Oh, you deep fry at work, Minute Man? Hope that's fun. I feel like it'd be more fun if you did it at home than at work, but who knows? If you get to like sneak in an Oreo and deep fry that, I mean, why not? Sky VTuber, who I haven't seen on Twitter in a little while. I think she's taking a break, maybe. She suggested Ready Player One. I mean, who hasn't heard of this book now? After the movie. But even before the movie, I'd heard of it. Never read it, though. I know that... Curiously, it's about video games. It's like the original Sword Art Online kind of scenario. But... there's like a lot of 80s references. So it's actually kind of like for boomers. A little bit is the gist that I got of it. There's like a lot of references to the older video games and to movies and music and stuff. So I don't know if it's a true quote gamer book, but I mean I'm sure it's fine as a story. But okay, then my old time pal Hachikuji's recommended Genji Monogatari, which is about that's a classic. Yeah, Tale of Genji, classic Japanese lit. Look at some plot details. Where's the plot? Son of an ancient Japanese emperor and a low-ranking but beloved concubine Kiritsubo consort. For political reasons, the emperor removes Genji from the line of succession, demoting him to a commoner by giving him the surname Minamoto, and he pursues a career as an imperial officer. The tale concentrates on Genji's romantic life and describes the customs of the aristocratic society of the time. That sounds pretty cool. I've never been one for like historical stuff, but I should learn more about it, and why not through fiction and literature. Hello, the producer. It is Producer San. He's in the chat. He doesn't like it when I add San, but you know what? Alright, we'll respect you, the producer. The only suffix you'll own is a 5-piece nugget. We have the Suitcase Kid, Jacqueline Wilson, from an old illustrator person. Oops, I copied the wrong thing. My old illustrator book cover artist recommended this. The Suitcase Kid. She said this was a children's novel. She gave me full disclosure. She acted all shy about it, but I think they're perfectly fine to read too. I think this was like about divorce or something. What is it? Andy realizes that she has to accept that her parents will not reunite and that she must move on like they did. Brutal. Oh, sorry, I misread. Andy, caught between her warring parents' bitter divorce and the determination Andy has to get her parents back together. Yeah, that is the logical thing as a kid, right? You jump in and you're like, come on, guys, stop messing around. Seems British as hell. But okay. Oh, it is. It is. Okay. Alright. So that's one too. Theater for Timesmiths. Action Points recommended this one. This one sounded pretty interesting when I read the description earlier. I already forgot though. Let's see. That's right, Lucas. I was just saying, yeah, I think there's plenty of good children's books. I mean, it's just easier to read, and if the message is there, then great. Theater of Timesmiths. Morag Mackenzie, a timesmith who sells her erotic memories, and anarchist Ben Blakely join forces to destroy the Primary, a tyrannical semi-organic computer that holds the inhabitants of First City within its icy confines. Hold on, wait, she sells her memories? Like she's getting nailed and then she sold those memories to someone to get off on them? Is she like a memory prostitute? That's pretty cool. That's pretty wacky. Huh, Action Points did a good job recommending this one. Hold on, grabbing my charger. Hold on a sec. Yeah, this sounds like an old wacky sci-fi. I bet the cover for this thing looks fucking just bonkers. Let's go find it. Okay, I mean, it's pretty standard sci-fi cover for the time. They could have done it a little more justice. You guys ever seen the old sci-fi novel covers? There was one for Fahrenheit. What the hell are those numbers again? 451? Had like the craziest cover. I'll have to look it up and see if they have it. Look at these. Ooh. This one looks like the Mega Man box art. We Can Build You, nice. That one's pretty cool too. I like that one. Some of them are like really pulpy though. Like I haven't, yeah, it's like this. There's just like a buff naked dude in front of all these snakes. Fahrenheit 451, yep. A lot of people said they preferred 1984 if they were gonna compare them, but Fahrenheit 451 was pretty relevant sooner. You could almost say that Fahrenheit 451 comes first, and then 1984 comes after, in terms of like how society is going. You opted to go for Catch 22. Oh yeah, so I saw your recommendation in there. We'll talk about that when we get down there. Anyhow, let's get to it instead of looking at sci-fi covers all day. The Emerald Tablets, this is my own insertion. This is very crazy kind of a occult fringe text. Supposedly, the ancient god Thoth wrote. I don't know, man. We'll have to explain it. I was thinking of doing a reading of this because it's not that long, and it would be kind of interesting. And it's apparently holds all the old secrets. I'll probably learn how to walk through walls after I'm done reading it. Doesn't mean I've already read it. No, I've not read Catch-22 yet, but it's always been on my list forever. And then Porum suggested The Handmaid's Tale, which has inspired the... inspired. I mean, it's literally adapted into a show, not inspired. Literally been adapted into a Netflix. So if you try to Google the book, you'll just see this lady's face instead. That one from Mad Men. The Rats in the Wall. Are you secretly referencing a Lovecraft story to me right now? The Rats in the Walls? I don't know if you were, but... see, another one. Another one from Porum is... Before you know it, the unconscious reasons we do what we do. Oh, I've heard of this. There's like this phenomenon that that you've already made decisions before you vocalize them or decide on them. I guess your subneural decision making is already done seconds prior. Let's see. From checking a dating app to holding a cup of coffee or choosing who to vote for, our unconscious secretly governs everything we feel, think, and do. Dr. Nuts to Butts reveals the psychological forces that are at work behind the scenes as we go about our daily lives and offers simple steps to improve your sleep, boost your memory, and live better. Interesting. That didn't say a ton. I mean, I've read a lot of stuff on how to boost your sleep and boost your productivity. But I'm down, yeah, sure. Interesting topic. Boring book with weak evidence at best. Oh, okay. I mean, I'm sure it's fine. All right. The Legendary Moonlight Sculptor is also by Porum. Well, recommended by Porum, not literally by Porum. Is that right? I thought someone else recommended this. Maybe, no, I think it was her. If not, oopsie. This is apparently a Korean light novel series. Yeah. So, where do I even read this? Is it a manga or is it a... How long is it? Oh my goodness. Oh, it's still ongoing? Yeah, I'm a little wary about reading stuff that's already ongoing that seems like not what I want to do on this channel. Seems Sword Art Online-y a little bit. You can tell I'm just reading so fast. Yeah, we'll have to see. The Little Prince, ah yes. Who doesn't know The Little Prince? Hyacinth recommends this. Dude, Lucas, that's so true. There's so many stories I've never completed. Do you ever think about how many, if you're an avid anime watcher, manga reader, how many stories you never actually see the conclusion of? Because you only read it from beginning to when it till you're caught up, I mean, and then you just forget about it because you can't get your dopamine fix anymore from that story. There's so many manga that I've never seen the ending to. But it didn't stop me from enjoying it, so it makes you think, does your story really even need an ending? It might not, it might not. You've probably seen this cover, Lucas, at least. If you haven't, then maybe it's banned in your country. And then they made like a Netflix movie off of it, which I saw, and I don't know if it really had much to do with the book. I'm not really sure. You really don't think you have? Okay. This one I think maybe we could even read on stream. Well, actually, one, it might be longer than I think, and two, I don't think you're supposed to read books on stream. You can just do excerpts. But we'll see. We'll see, Lucas. Maybe I'll read it for you. The Dragon and the Unicorn was also recommended by Hyacinth. Let's see. The US definitely bans books. Have no worries about that. They do it through Amazon. But they can't stop people from selling them. They can't stop them everywhere. Okay, let's read some synopsis. A fantasy set on Earth, which in fact is an animal, a dragon. The dragon absorbs the life energy around him to gain energy to communicate with other planets. The other planets are also dragons. That sounds fucking crazy. You imagine an entire planet being a living thing like that? How could you even comprehend it moving beneath you? Reminds you of The Witch, the Wardrobe, and the something or other. The Witch, the... Shit, what is it? Oh, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, that's it. Now, you got the last part, you just put it in the wrong spot. This title starts with mind-bendingly beautiful prose. The dragon sleeps with sing-songs resonating throughout the known cosmos. He is part of the planet, our home. The King Arthur stories never held much fascination for me in terms of fantasy fiction. Wait, is this really by... Wait, I'm so confused. The Perilous Order of Camelot book. I don't know, man. Fantasy series are so... There's so many. So this is Arthurian lore. I don't know how to categorize like types of fiction. I mean, types of fantasy. Anyways, next book. Eating Dirt. Deep Forest, Big Timber, and Life with the Tree Planting Tribe. Yep, this was recommended by Sotaka, our favorite tree VTuber. Yeah. During Charlotte Gill's 20 years working as a tree planter, she encountered hundreds of clear cuts, each one a collision site between human civilization and the natural world, a complicated landscape presenting geographic evidence of our appetites. Charged with sowing the new forest in these clear cuts, tree planters are a tribe caught between the slumps and the virgin timber, between environmentalists and loggers. She talks about the boom and bust history of logging and the versatility of wood, from which we have devised countless creations as diverse as textiles and airplane parts. She eloquently evokes the wonder of trees. That's what I need to understand Sotaka and the wonder of trees. Now this is something that like I'm not sure about, but Sotaka did recommend that we play Wild Guns, and I wasn't sure about that, and then it ended up being really fucking fun. So we'll see. Kieran writes, if you know that VTuber, he recommends Wicked Ways, an Iron Kingdoms Chronicles anthology. Oh, so it's some short stories, okay. I don't know if this is like part of a universe, but whatever. Sinister forces lurk in the corners of the Iron Kingdoms, restless souls, mischievous and cunning creatures, darker beings that bargain for mortal souls. The investigators from the Strange Light Workshop. I don't know what that is. I wonder if I have to know this universe. I don't think so. I don't think he would have recommended it if I had to. Let's see. war machine, steam-powered fantasy war game in the world of the Iron Kingdoms. Oh, I think this is like some tabletop action here. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if it gets chosen. And then Plot Bunny Senpai recommends Mistborn. I'm told this is a big fantasy one that a lot of people know. I don't know anything about it. Never been much for high fantasy, let alone epic fantasy. This is a trilogy. Oh, this is more than a trilogy. This is a whatever 8 is. Series primarily takes place in a region called the Final Empire, on a world called Scadrial, where the sun and sky red, vegetation is brown, and the ground is constantly being covered under black volcanic ash falls. Every night, the land becomes covered in an unnatural mist or fog. Every time I think about high fantasy, though, I always want to finish Book of the New Sun, which I'd started reading a while ago. Anyways, forget that. There's magic. There's allomancy. Allows a person to metabolize, burn metals ingested by the allomancer for magical powers that can enhance physical and mental capacities. So you can like consume alloys and use them for magic. Anyhow, let's keep going, now this one I'm probably gonna delete. Like, no offense, bro, but this guy just came into my Twitter and recommended this book. And when I go and look it up, I realize that he is the author. Like, this was his plug. He just came into my Twitter thread and was like, hey, you should check out this one called A Lifetime of Men. Oh, Lucas, my day's going pretty okay. After I do this stream, I gotta get back to my Android coding, though. I'm actually pretty far behind on my course. Not that far, I could probably knock it out tonight and tomorrow if I'm serious. But there's a project due Saturday, so I'm a little scared of that. So I don't know. There's nothing wrong with plugging a book, but it sounded kind of weird though. Sorry, bro. Let's go read it again. Let's go for that. Tolan has always let her mother have one secret: how she got that scar on her face. Playing along with her mother's games of inventing outlandish tales to explain the wound away. But when she finds a manuscript on her mother's computer that promises to reveal the true story, Tolan only hesitates for a moment before curiosity compels her to read on. She's hoping for answers, but instead she finds more mysteries tucked away. Her mother appears to be associated with Bo, a feisty photojournalist who flies to Cuba in pursuit of a story and becomes embedded with Castro's rebels, but Tolan can't quite work out their connection. Is this how Justin Trudeau was born? She's more clear about the relationship between her mother and Michael, a man 12 years her senior. They bond over their shared outcast status, and their friendship quickly becomes intimate. But the relationship antagonizes the self-appointed moral watchdogs in their small town who start to convert their threats into actions. Oh no, this is a story about true love beyond age is just a number. Tolan is pretty sure that Michael is her father. Wait, the one that she's hanging out with? The one that their friendship becomes intimate? What? Her mother told her he died years ago, but the book suggests their story had a different ending. The fuck? I don't know. Like I said, this was recommended me to a random indie author on Twitter, so I don't know. I don't know. I might not play fair and I might skip over it. The Rational Male, I read that. That's a book for dudes only. Shh, girls, don't read that. Shh. Speaking of which, let me put on my filters. We're gonna only show books that are to do. All right. Out of the Silent Planet, C.S. Lewis. Not personally recommended, just recommended by a guy, Charles Carroll, who does YouTube stuff. And then also he recommended What to Say When You Talk to Yourself, which is a book that I was gonna read over the week, but it was too much to read that and the 100 Habits book, or the 100 Motives, Ways to Motivate Yourself book. And then V2, okay, here we get into the ones that were submitted over the last week. So Life of Pi, who hasn't heard of Life of Pi? I've heard of it, but I actually have no idea what it's actually about. After deciding to sell their zoo in India and move to Canada, Santosh and Geeta Patel board a freighter with their sons and a few remaining animals. Tragedy strikes when a terrible storm sinks the ship, leaving the Patel's teenage son, Pai, Suraj Sharma. Oh, this is the movie description? Okay, fuck that. Where's the book description? Okay. Canadian philosophical novel. An Indian Hindu boy from Pondicherry who explores issues of spirituality and metaphysics from an early age. And Ophidia, yes, coding. And you missed it earlier. I was talking about your books that you recommended me, but they're on there. So I guess this is like a fiction with some metaphysical, philosophical lessons spewed in there. But I know it's extremely popular. It's probably only a matter of time until I read it. So VTuber Master Chef submitted that, and his note said, "I'm not sure." Well, I'm not sure either what that note means. Moriarty the Patriot. I plan on watching the anime. Oh, well, someone submitted it. Their user, they just put OTL. So I don't know if they're literally OTL or if they're just doing that emote of the man that's on the floor. Ophidia, you bet you made a lot of people either confused or scared with your recommendations. Well, we were talking, yeah, it's a little bit of occult stuff. I said that it's stuff that maybe a cult leader would read and keep to himself. Moriarty the Patriot. Oh, this looks familiar now. Is this like about Moriarty from Sherlock, or based on Arthur Conan Doyle's Sherlock Holmes series? Is a prequel focusing on the youth of Holmes' nemesis mathematics prodigy, William James Moriarty. Each chapter is a story, so any amount of chapters is fine. Okay. I'll just read enough to get like a good gist of it. And then like a little bit more. And then Eleonora the Bat Queen recommended Lathe of Heaven, an Ursula K. Le Guin story. She told me she read a lot of her growing up. This one sounded pretty interesting. What was it again? I think she told me that he it's a guy who creates worlds when he dreams or something like that. The plot concerns a character whose dreams alter past and present reality. Oh, even worse, yes. His dreams alter the past and the present. That's pretty fucked. But it sounds pretty cool though. I won't read too much of the plot summary at all. I'll just leave that. And then Lucas, here yourself, you're the last one to submit. You submitted the good old Catch-22 from Joseph Heller. You had a good note in here. Gonna embarrass you right now. You said, let me take a swig of this Topo Chico. You said, I read Catch-22 over the summer before 9th grade, and I decided I really enjoyed it, and it's still one of my favorite books of all time. It's about the insanity of war, and one of my favorite lines goes, "They're trying to kill me," Yossarian told him calmly. "No one's trying to kill you," Clevenger cried. "Then why are they shooting at me?" Yossarian asked. "They're shooting at everyone," Clevenger answered. "They're trying to kill everyone." "And what difference does that make?" Yeah, I see the kind of humor in here. Catch-22 is the first book I read that made me laugh, and also the first book that ever made me tear up. It is really a great book, and if you ever have some free time, I'd recommend checking it out. Also, as a note, the book can take a bit to get interesting. I think that's a lot of books. You need about 20 pages in before anything happens. Maybe even longer sometimes. But no, I like that. It kind of reminds me too of Kurt Vonnegut. What's the The one everyone has read, Slaughterhouse 5. That kind of starts out with those guys in like they're like in a prisoner of war camp, right? And there's a guy like obsessed with like a clock that he has or something. And then, I don't know, there's just like, it's a certain kind of ironic sense of humor. It's very, I don't know how to describe this kind of thing. It's kind of like the atrocities of wars, but presented to you from like these guys who are extremely deadened and numb to it. Miss Dayer, hello. Thanks for the head pat emotes. Yeah, it's kind of like a dark humor. Right, it's kind of dark. And not to say dark as in like they're killing people and laughing, but just that there's like shit happening and people are just dealing with it. Anyways, so that's the last on the list. All right, so what we are going to do is, have you read Mother Night by Kurt Vonnegut? No, I haven't. I haven't even heard of that title. I mean, I've only read a couple Kurt Vonnegut's. Soldiers use dark humor and dark jokes to lighten the mood of the situation. Yeah, that's exactly kind of what you feel in those kind of books. Like no one's out there being a comedian, you know, it's just that they're using the jokes as like, to stay sane and... But, alright, what I'm gonna do is, numbers 1 through 27. I'm gonna do a random number generator thing. Have you read Wuthering Heights? I've not read Wuthering Heights. I've not read any of these old classic Victorian female authors, really. You know what I did read, though? And hello to Bison. How's it going? I did not miss you. Man, what the hell was that book called? It was about a girl that grew up and something crazy, like I think her mom was like a prisoner or something, and then she then got like adopted into this house of nobles, and then like the boys of the family kept trying to like have sex with her all the time, so she tried to defend herself, and then for it got in trouble and then got kicked out and was made into like a prostitute on the streets, and then she just goes through like a rough life. And this is some old Victorian era stuff, but it was really good. Man, I cannot remember what that book's called. But it was a page turner, and usually the books of that era don't get me like that. But this one was pretty good. The Great Gatsby, yep. I have read Gatsby. It's pretty good. It's a banger house. Oh, Ophidia, you're an old soul. You guys keep saying Wuthering Heights, but... Okay, I just want to make sure there wasn't actually another book called Wuthering, but it's Wuthering, you guys. Sensei lesson, it's Wuthering, okay. Man, what is that book called? It's like the girl's name, and it starts with an... It starts with like an M or something. No, let's see, it's probably in here. That one? No, it was a girl's name. Maggie. Is this it? Is this the one? Where's the damn plot summary? Maggie, young girl from the Bowery who was driven to unfortunate circumstances by poverty and solitude. The work was considered risque by publishers because of its literary realism and strong themes. I think this is the one. The story opens with Jimmy, at this point a young boy, trying by himself to fight a gang of boys from an opposing neighborhood. He is saved by his friend Pete and comes home to his sister Maggie. No, this isn't it. This isn't it. I know I'm going on such a tangent right now, but I really got to figure out what the hell this book was called. Moll Flanders, that's it. That's for sure. This is for sure it. Moll Flanders, yes. An orphan born in a prison works her way from the streets of London to a Virginia plantation. This was a good one. Daniel Defoe, that's it. Like Willem Dafoe, but not related, maybe. Moll's mother is a convict in Newgate Prison in London who is given a reprieve by pleading her belly, a reference to the custom of staying the executions of pregnant criminals. Her mother is eventually transported to colonial United States in Moll Flanders, not her birth name, she emphasizes. It is raised from the age of 3 until adolescence by a kind foster mother. Becomes a servant, where she is loved by both sons, the elder of whom convinces her to act like they were married in bed. Unwilling to marry her, he persuades her to marry his younger brother. After 5 years, that's fucking weird, man. People were wild back then. You're like, I'm done with her. You can have her, little brother. You can marry her too. After 5 years of marriage, she is then widowed, leaves her children in the care of in-laws, and begins honing the skill of passing herself off as a fortunate widow to attract a man who will marry her and provide her with security. So she knows what's up, and she's a good character. It was a good book. Yeah, she returns to her con skills and develops a relationship. Oh yeah, I think she tries to, she like marries a dude that she actually likes, I think. And then things go bad. Anyhow, it was a good book though. It's a real page turner. So anyways, oops. Before we went there, I was going to do the number generator. So we're going to do everything in here, 1 through 27. And aside from a few choice books, let's get them out now. I'm not going to do the Bible, just because I want to do it kind of in its own way. Hold on, let's add a field here. Defer. So we will defer the Bible. We will defer where is it? Legendary Moonlight Sculptor, because it was like a manga or something, and it didn't look like it was done. And Porum has already submitted 2 other books, so I think it'll be fine to defer this one for now. And then the other one to defer. That was it. Everything else is fine. Okay. Oh, this one too, because I put that in myself. And I guess this one too, because I want to make this about what you guys submitted, not about what I put in here. And this one too. Okay, so now the list is only what you guys submitted. So let's go. So 1 through 22. Ooh, 22. With catch 22 is number 2. And here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna hit the generator 5 times. And the 5th number is what we're gonna choose. So you guys ready? Do the drum roll. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we got number 6, Psychic Telemetry. I would love to read that, but Ophidia, as you know, that book is not available actually in digital. And I did order the book, so it should be coming anytime. But I just realized we do need to defer that as well, because we just don't have it yet. But when it comes back, I mean when it comes in, then for sure. Like what we'll do is like I'll make that like the next one after whatever. Okay, so we're gonna hit it again 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 3. It Devours by, I think this, by Joseph Fink and Jeffrey Craner. All right, let's do it. Let's go read this one again. Oh, the Night Vale novel. Okay, All right. I hope I don't have to have known the Night Vale lore to understand. 2015 novel based on the popular podcast. So like I was saying earlier, this is a podcast made by some dudes from the Something Awful forums, and it's kind of like a it's like a Twilight Zone kind of thing, but they talk about it like it's real. And it's kind of like the old War of the Worlds radio show, where like people didn't understand that it was fake at the time. So it's kind of in the spirit of that, I think, too. And it's just a podcast that they kept adding on to, so it's kind of like fodder. It's kind of like world building fodder a little bit. So I guess this is a novel based on that world that's been created. And I've never really listened to the podcast. That's just what I know about it. I've listened like a few minutes. Actually, I agree, Ophidia. I don't know if the number 6 is relevant in psychic occult stuff, but that was the number for the book. All right, so we're gonna read this. We're gonna mark this as in progress, and you'll see my fancy kanban. No, we won't move the stack. So now we have once we finish It Devours, we'll just plop it right over here, and we'll be done with it. And then we've got this giant list to do. Ophidia, you say it was written back in 1977. And is an occult book, so I'm not surprised that it's not on digital. The book itself is somewhat rare. Yeah, but I did manage to snag one, the last one in stock. So alrighty, I'll have to make a tweet about that after. And then hopefully next week, it might be tough. I'm gonna try to read it by next week. But if we can't, then I'll read it by the week after. And if I can't read it by next week, then I will still talk about it next week. Just about my impressions so far. That way we can act like that we've all read it. That way all of us can leave this stream saying, yep, we read It Devours by Joseph Fink and Jeffrey Craner. And with that concludes this section of the stream. Next, I want to talk about the book that I've been reading for the last week, called 100 Ways to Motivate Yourself. Stretch real quick. Oh. So I was recommended this book by someone who's not very keen on self-help type stuff. So for them to recommend it, it's a big deal, you know how that is. And so far it's been pretty good. So let me just go through some of what I've read. Let's go through the chapters. I'll just they're really short. And I bookmarked some of them. Get on Your Deathbed. This is the one you guys might have saw me tweet, where they were saying that this person was, they did some kind of exercise where they were asked to lay down and envision that they were surrounded by their loved ones and that they were gonna die, and that they had to tell everyone what their last thoughts were. That's so fucked up. That's some cult behavior, Ophidia. That might be something you do in a cult to break people down. But you could see the value in that. He said, as I spoke to each person, I could feel my voice breaking. Somehow I couldn't help breaking down. My eyes were filled with tears. I experienced such a sense of loss. It was not my own life I was mourning. It was the love I was losing. To be more exact, it was a communication of love that had never been there. During this difficult exercise, I really got to see how much I left out of my life, how many wonderful feelings I had about my children, for example, that I'd never explicitly expressed. At the end of the exercise, I was an emotional mess. I had rarely cried that hard in my life. But when those emotions cleared, a wonderful thing happened. I was clear. I knew what was really important, who really mattered to me. So that's a nice motivator right there. That'll probably wake you up. It's probably quite a shock to your ego. But what I want to do is go through the ones that I've read that were, I thought, VTuber specific, since we are still a VTuber specific audience here. So, okay, here's the first one I had bookmarked. Stay Hungry. Which was this one about? Okay, so he was talking about the author of this book actually interviewed Arnold Schwarzenegger when he was younger. And let's see what happened. Oh yeah, they just come out with a movie. He was a yeah, he made a movie with Jeff Bridges, Sally Field. Yep, that Arnold Lucas. He just made a movie that bombed, and this guy was gonna interview him, and he says at one point I casually asked him, "Now that you have retired from bodybuilding, what are you going to do next?" And with a voice as calm as if he were telling me about some mundane travel plans, he said, "I'm going to be the #1 box office star in all of Hollywood." And so at first, like, he was like, okay, you just bombed your first movie, dude. What the hell? But okay. So he asked him, just how do you plan on doing that? And then he said, this is what Arnie said, "It's the same process I used in bodybuilding. What you do is create a vision of who you want to be and then live into that picture as if it were already true." Now, you guys might have heard that a million times. I know I have. I've heard it in so many books. But for me, it was just a sign that, like, seeing it for the 10th time, he kind of, it's less cliche and more of like, it must actually be true. Like, there's no way that all these people are just saying the same thing because it sounds nice. It must be because there's something to it, you know? It's all about visualization. Sounded ridiculously simple, too simple to mean anything, but I wrote it down and I never forgot it. I'll never forget the moment when some entertainment TV show was saying that box office receipts from his second Terminator movie had made him the most popular box office draw in the world. There is a logic, there is a solid logic. If you're at a Maxwell Maltz or is it Waltz? Hold on a sec. Maxwell Cyber Psychonetics. Yeah, it is Maxwell Maltz, Psycho-Cybernetics. This is a self-help book written about how basically it's the whole science of envisioning things and how your brain kind of naturally goes towards those things that you envision. You just have to, like, be willing to put the work behind that ritual of envisioning this future for you. And it's kind of the reason why depressed people stay depressed and why people who are successful stay successful. They have very different mental images of themselves. Here are some notes I highlighted. I invite people to notice that Arnold said that you create a vision. He did not say that you wait until you receive a vision. You create one. In other words, you make it up. The vision can be created right now. Better now than later. You can always change it if you want, but don't live a moment longer without one. Watch what being hungry to live that vision does to your ability to motivate yourself. Very interesting. Alright, we've got quite a few more chapters to go through and I gotta go soon. So let's just speed it up a bit. Tell yourself a true lie. I bookmarked the ones that I specifically wanted to talk about. So let's just go for the bookmarked ones. But there's plenty of good chapters in this book. I like this book so far. Show your own buttons, build a track record. Put your library on wheels. Hold on, I'm pretty sure I've skipped some good notes here. Let's just go back a little bit. Keep your eyes on the prize. Most of us tend to lose our focus in life because we're perpetually worried about so many negative possibilities. Rather than focusing on the 2x4, we worry about all the ramifications of falling. Rather than focusing on our goals, we're distracted by our worries and fears. Alright, I'll read this one. Alright, this was a good one. I could see this one being VTuber relevant. Most of us never really focus. We constantly feel a kind of irritating psychic chaos because we keep trying to think of too many things at once. There's always too much up there on the screen. There was an interesting motivational talk on this subject given by former Dallas Cowboys coach Jimmy Johnson to his football players during halftime in 99-3. Blah, 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 blah. I told them that if I laid a 2x4 across the room, everyone there would walk across it and not fall, because our focus would be that we were going to walk that 2x4. But if I put that same 2x4 10 stories high between two buildings, only a few would make it, because the focus would be on falling. Focus is everything. The team that is more focused today is the team that will win the game. Johnston told his team not to be distracted by the crowd, the media, or the possibility of losing. but to focus on each play of the game itself, just as if it were a good practice session. The Cowboys won the game 52-17. I can tell you a VTuber relevant example right now. So you know Sister Abigail. In her debut stream, she was getting over like 100. She had well more than 100, I think. But at one point, she had over 100 viewers, and people in the chat were saying, "Oh my God, you're already at 80 viewers. You're already at 90 viewers. You're already at 100 viewers." And she said something like, I don't remember exactly what she said, but she said something like, "Oh no, I don't want to see." And she actually admitted that she had like the viewership covered up. She didn't want her focus to be on how many people were in there, because one, that's scary to think about. It's the exact same thing as this though. Like, rather than looking at the impossible distance you're gonna fall if you slip off the 2x4, just keep your eyes on the 2x4, and just, you know, just walk that board. So that's kind of what she did there. And if you know Abby, you know she's great. She does great streams. So I think it's the same kind of thing. Don't get too wrapped up or nervous about anything. Just focus on what matters. I kind of like this one. I'll just do the quick version of it. This was about learn to sweat in peace. It was basically about, if you're gonna do something scary, go do something scarier. If you're gonna, I think they said Muhammad Ali, he would choose between sparring partners. He would find someone who was better than his competitor. And then once he got used to fighting him, once he went to his actual competitor, it would be like nothing. So find a scarier version of the thing that you're gonna do, and then go do that. If you're gonna do a collab that you're nervous about, go do, I don't know, go to your local Trader Joe's and scream in the middle of it. Just kidding. Go do push-ups in the middle of a busy shopping center while a bunch of people are walking by. So I bookmarked this one. Put your library on wheels. It is essentially about this is a trick. Oh, what does Ophidia say? Let's read this. There's a passage in the psychic telemetry book that I believe backs that idea up. Basically, it says you are what you think and attract those things that you envision or believe in. I can send you the passage in DMs if you want, or if you prefer to wait until you get the book, that's fine too. Yeah, you can send it. If you get it in, I'll open that up and read it on stream. If it's not like a massive passage, yeah, sure. Who am I kidding? I'd probably read it all anyways. All right, so put your library on wheels. I've actually read this in like a Tony Robbins book. Maybe Tony Robbins stole it from this guy. But the idea is, don't just go in your car and listen to radio or music. Go pull up YouTube videos of things that you're trying to learn. If you want more channels, more viewers for your Twitch channel, go put in a random video on YouTube about how to grow Twitch and just listen to that. Don't even be too picky about it, just choose a random one. Usually those videos are like 10 to 20 minutes. If you're just sitting there on your computer, there's much better stuff you could do with your time, so you don't really commit the time. But if you're driving to the store, that's like an easy way to eat up like 10 minutes. So just pop on some videos, and basically anytime you get in the car, you're gonna be in a better mood too, because if you get stuck in traffic, you actually will be kind of glad of it, because then you'll be like, oh good, now I can finish listening to this video. But what I really also wanted to bookmark in here was this, and I tweeted this too, but I'm gonna read it again because I think it's really important. When we use our time in the car to simply listen to music or to curse traffic, we are undermining our own frame of mind. Moreover, by listening to tabloid-type news programs for too long a period of time, we actually get a distorted view of life. News programs today have one goal: to shock or sadden the listener. The most vulgar and horrific stories around the state and nation are searched for and found. This is true more than ever, like dude, everything on your Twitter feed is designed to make you panic. People get clicks and they get ad views from you clicking on their sites. Don't fall for the media news meme. Some news here and there is fine, but just consider that there are people who are designing it so that what you see gives you a certain reaction and makes you want more. I know someone who works in the firefighter line of service, and they tell me that they constantly go on calls for people who don't actually have anything wrong with them, but they're all scared shitless that they have COVID for the smallest reason. And a lot of them tell them, yeah, I've just been watching the news all day and getting kind of panicked. So they tell them, stop watching the news, go hang out with your family, don't worry about it, you're fine. It was very real. And I loved this even more because he follows up on it. He says, I experienced this firsthand when I worked for a daily newspaper. I saw how panicked the city desk got if there were no murders or rapes that day. I watched as they tore through the wire stories to see if a news item from another state could be gruesome enough to save the front page. If there's no drowning, they'll reluctantly go with a near drowning. I think people are way too trusting of like news and media organizations. Like they do think this way. They really do think that way. You know, they don't think that they don't. But he goes on and says, there's nothing wrong with this. It's not immoral or unethical. It feeds the public's hunger for bad news. It's exactly what people want, so in a way it is a service. But it reaches its most damaging proportions when the average listener believes that all this bad news is a true and fair reflection of what's happening in the world. It's not. It is deliberately selected to spice up the broadcast and keep people listening. It is designed to horrify because horrified people are a riveted audience and advertisers like it that way. This passage has aged extremely well. Just love it. So likewise, he goes on to say, if we're selective about what we listen to in the car, that really helps us with our knowledge and motivation, because you're just always, you kind of got, it's for one, you've always got your mind on the goals that you want, and two, you're always like priming your brain with new knowledge all the time. Definitely plan your work. So this was an interesting one. He was talking about basically there's a lot of stress if you don't plan your weeks and your days out. He says, once we get the picture of who we want to be, quote, definitely planned work is the next step on the path. Definitely planned work inspires the energy of purpose. Without it, we suffer from a weird kind of attention deficit disorder. We're short on intention. We don't know where we're going or what we're up to. You could easily see this with like streaming or something. Okay, just for one example, if you're just a variety streamer who streams on some days, you could understand this. I think you have the intention to stream, but you're not committing to anything, to any time slots or anything. So it's very easy to just, I guess I won't do it today. I'll do it tomorrow. So that's why scheduling, when people do schedules, I think it's often more to help themselves than it is for others. When you have a schedule, it really makes you feel like you're on top of stuff. And I've been kind of lazy, so I haven't stuck to it super hard here. But I know that in other areas of life, when I put in a schedule, when I make the work to do it, it definitely helps. But definitely a habit you gotta get better at. I'm kind of the worst at it. But here's an interesting thing though that kind of changed my mind about it. He says, however, most of us don't feel we have time for that hour of planning. We're too busy cleaning up yesterday's problems that were caused by lack of planning. We don't yet see that planning would be the most productive hour we spend. Instead, we wander unconsciously into the workplace and react to crisis. Again, most of which results from a failure to plan. So like, I get wrapped up because I'm like, oh, I don't want to spend the time to do this scheduling and planning. Like, I'd rather do something else because I'm short on time or because whatever. But like, he's saying like the reason you're short on time in the first place is because you haven't been planning. And I'm like, that's pretty fucking true, actually. There's probably a lot of stuff I could have figured out better if I just took the time to actually plan better in the first place. So this guy spent 2 hours each weekend on his computer planning the week ahead. It made all the difference in the world. He said, not only do I get 3 times the work done, but I feel so in control. The work feels like my week. Or the week feels like my week. The work feels like my work. My life feels like my life. There's just 2 hours a week. Saves you just as much, if not more time, throughout the week. Could be worth doing. Bounce your thoughts. But first, Ophidia says she has sent the passage. Let's go check that out. The magic telehoroscopes law of attraction. The old saying that Kami-sama Aesop. How do I say that name? How's it going? The old saying that like attracts like is true. There is a magnetic quality within the human aura that attracts to the individual the very things that they have built up within the aura. Because of this magnetism, it is extremely important that you think positively about all the things you would like to attract into your life. This positive thinking builds power into your aura and magnetically attracts those things which you desire, whether good or bad. The aura is a constantly changing electromagnetic force around you. The aura reflects what you are at the precise moment. Every thought and deed performed by you will change your aura to conformity. You will learn to see and analyze the human aura in the remaining pages of this chapter. No one will ever again be able to hide his true character or motives from you. Alright, I'll just call you Kami-sama. You know, I think this is such a prevalent idea. I think there's got to be some truth to it. Now, the thing is, someone might read this and think, okay, this sounds a little too hoo-ha. Magnetism, what? Huh? Auras, what? But you cannot deny that there are certain people that you feel a positive energy from, and there's certain people you feel a negative energy from. And however it's explained, whatever the science is, whatever is actually at play, you cannot deny that there is definitely certain energies you can get off of people. And therefore you yourself have that energy that you exude too. And this is basically just saying, like, you have the ability to control it. And you do so by what you think about. I think that's true in all things. Like, if you're really judgmental of people, you'll find that you're very judgmental of yourself too. It's kind of like a mirror. If you're really positive and open, you'll find that you're much more forgiving of yourself. You're in a better mood most of the time. You know, if you're angry, then everyone else looks angry. If you're happy, everyone else seems happy. If you're sad, everyone else seems sad. That kind of thing. But it goes on a little more beyond just the mental in your own head. I think, like, you'll notice how certain people with positive energy attract a lot of people, and they might have, for example, like more followers, or they might have more fun streams, or something like that. And it's like, it's no wonder how they got there. It's because they literally have this kind of energy. And people, you don't have to understand this principle to be a victim of it. A victim. Yeah. You don't have to understand this concept. You don't have to literally know this concept for it to work on you. I don't think 90% of people understand this, and they're constantly the subject of this all the time. They're just attracted to certain types of people, and they want to be noticed by these people, and feels really good for a very positive person to give you attention. If that wasn't true, then, you know, why are some people so popular on the internet versus others? Why do some people want the attention of certain people, you know? Thank you, Ophidia, for sharing that from the book. The book which I will soon be reading, because that was the technical true winner. So this was another one that I bookmarked. Bounce your thoughts. What was this one about? Why did I say this was VTuber relevant? Oh, you know, I did like this one, because there's so many... In the anime community, there's so many depressed people. Man, that's probably why we liked anime in the first place. So, I'll just read through this one real quick. Bounce your thoughts. If you've ever coached or worked with kids who play basketball, you know that most of them have a tendency to dribble with only one hand, the one attached to their dominant arm. When you notice a child doing this, you might call him aside and say, Billy, you're dribbling with just the one hand every time, and the defender can easily defend you when you do that. Your options are cut off. You need to dribble with your other hand too so that he never knows which way you're going to go. At this point, Billy might say, I can't. And you smile and say, what do you mean you can't? And Billy then shows you that when he dribbles with his subdominant, weaker hand and arm, the ball is all over the place. So in his mind, he can't. Billy, you say it's not that you can't, it's just that you haven't. Then you explain to Billy that his other hand can dribble just as well if he is willing to practice. It's just a matter of logging enough bounces. It's the simple formation of a habit. After enough practice dribbling with his other hand, Billy will learn you were right. So then here's the kicker. The same principle is true for reprogramming our own dominant habits of thinking. If our dominant thought habit is pessimistic, all we have to do is dribble with the other hand. Think optimistic thoughts more and more often until it feels natural. If someone had asked me why I didn't try to be more goal-oriented and optimistic, I would have said, I can't, it's just not me, I wouldn't know how. But it would have been more accurate for me to just say, I haven't. Thinking is just like bouncing the basketball. On the one hand, I can think pessimistically and build that side of me up. It's just a matter of how repeatedly bouncing those thoughts. It's just a matter of repeatedly bouncing those thoughts. On the other hand, I can think optimistically, one thought at a time, and build that habit up. Self-motivation is all a matter of how much in control you want to be. The overall pattern won't change after just a few positive bounces of the brain. If you're a pessimist, your biocomputer has been programmed heavily in that direction, but it doesn't take long before a new pattern can emerge. As a former pessimist myself, I can tell you it really happens. Slowly but surely, you do change, one thought at a time. If you can bounce it one way, you can bounce it the other. And that's why I think there's a little bit of fake it till you make it involved if you're trying to truly not be depressed or to change your attitude. Like if you're tweeting a lot of negative stuff, you might do it because you're quote venting. And venting, sure, you need venting every now and then, but if you find yourself, if you're in the habit of someone who vents a lot, it might just be more so that you're dribbling with the hand that is pessimistic, and it's just so bad now that you have to let it out all the time instead of reversing that behavior. I don't know if venting is really all that needed, actually. Like if I'm pissed off or really depressed, the things that have actually helped me the most is if I get forced into a call or forced into playing a game with someone. I really don't want to do it. I'm like so mad and sad or just I don't want to do it. But then I get forced into doing this activity, and that actually turns my mood around faster than quote venting ever would. So I think it's kind of what he's saying here is you just gotta flip your mindset, use the other hand, and realize that it's not like a switch. It doesn't just like turn on. You just don't turn on happy thoughts. But it does take practice, and it will get better, is what he's saying. So I think that's really cool to understand. And some people, I don't know, they might not like to hear that because they're like, well, my problem's not that simple, or I've been depressed for a really long time. But I find it liberating because if you just realize that it's just basic psychology, physiology, that it's just reprogramming your brain to think differently, it's actually a big weight off your shoulders. It's not all your fault. It's something you could change, just like with science. So think positive, okay? All right. Oh, I really like this one. Light your lazy dynamite. This one I use all the time now. The essence is basically, if you're freaked out about doing something or you don't want to do something, you know you have to do something but you don't want to do it. He says do the laziest version of that thing possible. So he says the paradox is that the slower you start something, the faster you will be finished. When you first think about doing something hard or overwhelming, you are most aware of how you don't want to do it at all. In other words, the mental picture you have of the activity of doing it fast and furiously is not a happy picture. So you think of ways to avoid doing the job altogether. The thought of starting slowly is an easy thought, and doing it slowly allows you to actually start doing it, and therefore it gets finished. So every time you have a hard task coming up. If you're in school still and you gotta write some essay, just do the laziest, shittiest version possible of that essay. Literally write like the whole argument you want to make in 5 sentences and just build from there. And usually what happens is after like 10 minutes of that, you actually kind of get into the groove of it and you start going for it. Just like he said. I need that because I'm lazy. What's the name of the book again? This book that we're reading? It's 100 Ways to Motivate Yourself. Oh man, this is a good one too. So 18, don't just do something, sit there. So this is like, if you know anything about meditation, mindfulness, this basically is this concept explained. So let's just read it. For a long time, all by yourself, sit quietly, absolutely alone, completely relax. Don't allow the television or music to be on. Just be with yourself. Watch for what happens. Feel your sense of belonging to the silence. Observe insights starting to appear. Observe your relationship with yourself starting to get better and softer and more comfortable. Sitting quietly allows your true dream life to give you hints and flashes of motivation. In this information-rich, interactive, civilized life today, you are either living your dream or living someone else's. And unless you give your own dream the time and space it needs to formulate itself, you'll spend the better part of your life simply helping others make their dreams come true. This is especially true. I don't remember when this book was written, but this is especially true now. Like, every interaction online is part of like someone's content strategy. If you tweet at Arby's, you're essentially helping them with their plan instead of helping yourself. Well, you might be if you're getting clout for it, like Prince kind of does sometimes, but he's a goofball. Of all of man's troubles, said French philosopher Blaise Pascal, I don't know how to read that name, stem from his inability to sit alone quietly in a room for any length of time. All of man's troubles stem from his inability to sit alone quietly in a room for any length of time. Notice that he did not say some of man's troubles, but all. Sometimes in my seminars on motivation, a person will ask me, why is it that I get my best ideas when I'm in the shower? I usually ask the person, when else during your day are you alone with yourself without any distractions? If the person is honest, the answer is never. Yep, I also am one of these shower thoughts type of person. The idea of bringing the phone into the shower with you is the most unholy thing I could think of. I can't think of anything more dreadful than getting a Ziploc baggie. Let's just pull it up. Look at this dude. Do you want to be this guy? Do you want to be so unseparated from your phone that you have to go in the shower with it in the Ziploc bag? For what? For what? For what purpose? Okay, this is not what I'm looking for. But people do this shit. People sell this. Like, do not taint. If you're the kind of person who doesn't slow down in the first place or meditate or do anything like that, then do yourself a favor and use the shower time as your sacred time to get your thoughts together and to think. Oh man, is this against TOS? TOS, not terms of service, in my opinion. It's tits on screen. That was funnier the other day when I said it. So obviously this is kind of a joke. There's no way you have this many pouches for shit. That's so dumb. Anyways, leave your fucking mind, let your mind rest a bit. This guy looks like Edward Norton in the shower with this phone. Yeah, give yourself some fucking time. Great ideas come to us in the shower when it's the only time in the day when we're completely alone. No television, no movies, no traffic, no radio, no family, no pets. Nothing to distract our minds from conversing with itself. Thinking, said Plato, is the soul talking to itself. People, I kind of like that too. I'm going to highlight it. People... Oh no, what happened? Okay. People worry they will die of boredom or fear if they are alone for any length of time. Holy shit, how many people do you know like that? Other people have become so distraction addicted that they would consider sitting alone by themselves like being in a sensory deprivation tank. The truth is that the only real motivation we ever experience is self-motivation that comes from within, and being alone with ourselves will always give us motivating ideas if we stay with the process long enough. The best way to truly understand the world is to remove yourself from it. Psychic entropy, the seesaw mood swing between boredom and anxiety, occurs when you allow yourself to become confused by massive input. By being perpetually busy, glued to your cell phone, out in the world all day with no time to reflect, you will guarantee yourself an eventual overwhelming sense of confusion. The cure is simple and painless. The process is uncomplicated. You do not need to leave your room, said Franz Kafka. Remain sitting at your table and listen. Do not even listen, simply wait. Do not even wait. Be quiet, still and solitary. The world will freely offer itself to you to be unmasked. It has no choice. It will roll in ecstasy at your feet. Lucas says if you're on your phone while in the shower, you're going to end up using more water, and water is hella expensive. Yeah, it's a good point too. You know what I also noticed about phone usage too? Okay, for one, I think the way you interface with your phone is the problem. I've been one of those guys who has tried to do like app blockers and detoxes and stuff like that. But once I was VTubing and connecting with people on Twitter, all of a sudden Twitter was the best thing ever. But before that point, Twitter was just like a thing that I scrolled my fingers through to look for new content, and I barely tweeted myself. If you're an observer on social media, if you're a consumer on social media, you're gonna have a bad time. But if you're a producer or a content creator on social media, you're gonna have a lot more purpose, and it's gonna be a lot more fun. And then the second thing I noticed was, if I say I'm going to the store to get groceries, here's what happens. Have my phone, I get into my car and start it, and I look at my phone for a second. And then I might get wrapped up in something that I see. Spend a few minutes in the car wasting my time, put the phone away, go, and then I drive. I get to the grocery store, and I look at the phone again to check if anything happened. I spend a few more minutes. If something wraps me up, then I spend more minutes just sitting there in the car, burning gas, burning minutes. Turn off the car, and then I go to into the grocery store. And if I'm waiting in line, I'm gonna pull out the phone and look again. And then when I get into the car again, I look at the phone again. And then when I drive home, after I get back into the driveway and stop the car, I'm gonna look at the phone again. And all those minutes add up so much. And I didn't realize this until I was trying to squeeze and go into the grocery store on my lunch break, because that's precious time. Okay, I only have like 30 minutes to an hour, and like 15 minutes of that time is being eaten up by me being an ego monster and looking at my fucking phone. Lucas says I didn't have any social media and didn't comment at all for a long time. Then in literally 1 month I got a Twitter and started commenting and reading almost everything, anything and everything. I think that's fun, and I think that's all fine. But in my case, situations like mine I think are the most time consuming. So it's just like, you know, if you're gonna go do a task, just like silence everything. Keep your phone away. And then when you're back, fuck around all you want. But like in my situation, it shows like a big lack of like self-awareness that I just let myself like look at the phone all the time in between tasks, when I could just be like, get in the car, drive, get out of the car, buy the stuff, get back in the car, drive back, boom. Yeah, Lucas, and I could go on about this. It's multitasking. Multitasking is a real cancer. Because you're constantly shifting your mind from one track to the other. And they've done studies that shows that like the more you switch tracks, the less good you are at all those tasks. So like if you're trying to work and then you're distracting yourself on Twitter, then you're gonna do worse of a job at work. And then if you're trying to do something else, then you're just gonna keep diminishing that attention all the time. And you'll start to notice, like if you force yourself to not use your phone and only focus on one thing, at first it's really hard, which is a problem in itself. If it's really hard to do a task, that's a wake-up call that you are too distracted and that your mind has gotten used to that. But just stick with it, keep suffering, and after a few hours of focus on just one task, you'll actually get more enjoyment out of it. I've talked about this before. Like, I actually have a better time at work when I make sure my phone is put away. But then sometimes I don't really care, and I just multitask away anyways. But there are certain times where I realize I'm getting too distracted at work, and it's like, okay, it's time to serious up and put the fucking phone away for a bit. But I think it's a matter of like catching yourself sooner, before you get to that point where you get in trouble or you mess something up. You catch it early and you scale it back. This guy finished reading Deep Work. What is that, a book about no multitasking? Lucas says the human mind can't multitask. It can only very quickly switch between doing two different things. Yeah. For shizzle. All right. Oh, it's already 1 hour and 30, so I'm gonna find another one of these to read, and then I'll probably pop off. Leave high school forever. That's a good one. Learn to lose your cool. What was this one again? Kill your television. Yeah, just don't watch TV. Glad you finally got to get the Sensei streaming. Oh, well, sorry, we're gonna leave soon. Did you just tell me to hydrate? Alright, I'm drinking my Topo Chico. Find your inner Einstein. Run towards your fear. With the way you relate. Let's try this one. Run towards your fear. The world's best kept secret is that on the other side of your fear there is something safe and beneficial waiting for you. If you pass through even a thin curtain of fear, you will increase the confidence you have in your ability to create your life. Fear kills more people than death. This is some big VTuber stuff too. How many, well, this has been a trend in the community lately. Alright, Sensei's gonna get cocky here. Okay, I've been saying this for a while, that people need to make content no matter what it is. But after Maury said it on her stream, and she was begging people to make she was begging VTubers to make content. Now it seems like everyone's tweeting about how they've always said that forever, right? But it's true. And I think one of the things is always just like some kind of fear that they just don't know what they want to do. You just got to do something, man. There was a time in my life when my greatest fear of all was public speaking. It didn't even help to know that fear of speaking in front of others is people's #1 fear, even greater than the fear of death. For me, it ran even deeper than that. As a child, I could not give oral book reports. I'd plead with my teachers to let me off the hook. I would offer to do 2, even 3 written book reports if I didn't have to do the oral one. But as my life went on, I wanted to be a public speaker more than anything. My dream was to teach people everywhere to learn the ideas that lead to self-motivation, the ideas that I'd learned. But how could I ever do this if stage fright left me frozen with fear? Look at it, like, think of that, like the bargaining with yourself to not do something simple. Like, how many times have you ever put something off and you've bargained with yourself in this kind of way? One day I was driving through Phoenix, flipping through the radio stations, accidentally happened upon a religious station where a histrionic preacher was yelling, "Run toward your fear, run right at it." Deep down, I knew that I had just heard something I needed to hear. No matter what station I turned to, all I could hear were those words, "Run towards your fear." So then he called his friend and got into an acting class. The rush we get after running through the waterfall of fear is the most energizing feeling in the world. If you're ever in an under-motivated mood, find something that you fear and do it, and watch what happens. I think this is probably the only reason I really bookmarked this passage was for this quote at the end. Because this is such a big thing. Alright, Ophi. Nighty-night. This is probably where I'll end it too. This is a huge thing, I think. There's so many things where like, just like he says, like the thin veneer of fear stops you. But then when you break through it, you actually become really motivated. And on one level, it's just simply that you've achieved something that you thought was hard. And now you feel great. But not only that, I feel when you do something scary or something you're nervous about, you get that fight or flight feeling in your body. You get nervous. And if you force yourself to do it anyways, that physical feeling doesn't quite leave you. And instead of being dread, it actually turns into like motivation. I've noticed in myself, if I wake up very sluggish, very lazy, very cold, and then I go and I'm forced to go on a meeting at work and I have to talk to people and do things. All of a sudden I'm in like an amazing mood and like nothing even exciting happened in those meetings, you know, like nothing positive really happened. It's just the fact that I was forced out of that mood and into a heightened state. And I think it's the same reason why people exercise in the morning and they claim it gives them more energy, all that kind of shit. So in general, it just becomes a really good idea. Whenever something that seems kind of scary, you should probably just go do it, even if it seems bad. I mean, that's the whole point, right? That it feels scary. And it's always a trick. It's not about overcoming fear as much as just recognizing what it is and then just doing it anyways. So yeah. I'm gonna sip my Topo Chico, hold on. Did you get some backwash ASMR just now? So anyways, that's where I'll end it. I'm saying that make this your challenge through the week, okay? The Sensei challenge. And if you do it, tweet me. And Lucas, I know you're still there, so if you're listening, you better do this. Go find something that's scary, or rather, in the moment that something feels scary, go pounce on it. Let me know how it turns out. You see a cutie at the grocery store, you know, you get nervous, go talk to him. You want to speak up at work, and you get a feeling, like you get like a weird feeling that you're like, oh shit, should I say something? Am I gonna say something dumb? Just do it anyways. See what happens. And then let me know what happens. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know in the comments below. Hit the bell. Subscribe. Alright. So yeah, I only got to pay to chapter... I lost my place. I think I was at like 36 or something. I'm planning on asking someone out as soon as I go back to physical school. Oh, I would challenge you to figure out how to do it even sooner. When are they gonna let you go back to school physically? Go do it. My friend got me to confess to them. Oh, you confessed now? No clue, so I'm trying to speed up my plans. Yeah, that's tricky, Lucas, because what you've done, I don't mean to shit on you as soon as you told me that, but as soon as you confessed to someone, you kind of gave stuff away. You kind of showed your hand already. But if they're a very cool person, then maybe if they're into you too, maybe it doesn't matter. Sometimes you want to keep that closer to your chest and just make it more casual. Hey, you want to go do this thing? No. Confess to my friends that I liked a girl. Oh, okay, cool. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Do it, Lucas. Let me know. Tell me all about your war stories when you get back from that. But it is in polites to kiss and tell, so you don't gotta go all gory. But just tell me, tell me the conquest of fear. Tell me about that shit. But all right, we'll wrap things up here, and I'll just recap, saying that the book we decided to read was It Devours. Joseph Fink, Jeffrey Craner, a Night Vale, of all things, a Night Vale spin-off novel. So we'll see how that is. I'll go download a copy of that from somewhere. There we go. What? Not available to purchase? Hold on a minute. Oh no, it's there for one click. Okay, we're fine. We're gonna read it. You've only ever asked out one other person before. Yeah, so we're gonna read it. We'll see how that goes. Like I said, I'll try to finish it next week. But maybe not because of my coding goals that I got going on. I have a project due Saturday. I really gotta, as soon as this ends, I'm gonna jump straight back into my instructional videos. And I'll tweet about this. But, alrighty. Thanks all for stopping by. Oh, Lucas says, I learned ask you people when you have the chance the hard way 2 times now. Wait, rephrase that? I'm not sure I'm reading that. Thank you, Lucas. Worded that so bad, it's okay. It's alright. Writing is rewriting, and on Twitch you cannot rewrite. I think what you're saying is, yes, you're saying ask people out when you get the chance. You're right. That's the thing, that's the 3-second rule. You know, you see the person, you see that cutie, you got 3 seconds to go approach them. Any longer and they already know you're a creep, because women have like a supernatural sense to sense what you're feeling. Like, they know that you want them. They know what you want to do. But that's not, that's not gonna stop anything from happening. It's just how you handle it is the issue. And if you handle it like a nerd, then they're gonna sense that. But if you handle it as someone who jumps on an opportunity as soon as it approaches, first off, you don't get that anxiety, you don't overthink it. 2, like we just talked about, you head straight for that fear, you run straight towards it. And finally, it just sends off all the right vibes. Yep, romance advice with the most loveless guy ever. Oh my god, my head is behind the chat. I didn't notice this. God, so embarrassing. Did I fix it yet? Okay, there you go. You know what? It could be intentional, because then but then you can't see that I'm moving. You know that I'm moving, right? Because I'm the bird. But, anyways. Alright, it's time to go. I really gotta go now. Thanks for hanging out, Lucas. For everyone else that came to hang out too. Let's get it. Let's get that bread this week. Nighty night, Gallo _ Have a good night. Good luck on work. Yep, thanks, Lucas. Talk to you on the tweeters. Oh wait, let's raid. We have a small chat today, but no worries. Let's go give it to someone. There's Dairy Kaoru, there's Over the Ledge. Oh, I look, Over the Ledge is good, and he saved my life this week. So let's go get him. He needs more followers too, so if you guys don't mind giving him a follow, that would be really cool. You just say Sensei raid. I don't really care about raid message. Let's go and give him the follow, please. Yeah, let's do it.